It's the middle of summer, and we've wrapped up our tour of summer camp. So what's next, you might ask? A road trip, of course. This week, we're hitting the road, and our first stop is a little movie from 1979 called Tourist Trap. We watched it, so you don't have to. So you know what time it is. Hey, what is up, Moon Goons? Welcome to Horrible Horror, the podcast where we watch the worst of the worst in horror movies. Movies so bad they're scary. I'm your host, Marshall Hampton. With me, as always, my co-host, Mr. Aaron Southworth.
Hey, everybody, how's it going? We watched a doozy.
We did watch this doozy today.
Doozly do.
Doozly do. And matter of fact, we're gonna. It's actually made in.
Let's do it like this. I'm gonna rub your ass in the moonshine. Let's take it back to 79.
Yes, thank you very much, ODB. Yes, we are taking it back to 1979 with the movie Tourist Trap.
Tourist Trap. Thank you, ODB. R.I.P.
R.I.P.
ODB. So, yeah, back to 79, the year I was born, actually. So this is 36, almost 37 years old now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an oldie moldy, like myself.
Oh. All right, it's an oldie movie. It was released on March 16th of 1979. It's a 90-minute runtime. The odd thing about this movie compared to almost every other horror movie we've done, this one is actually only rated PG.
PG. It's like baby's first horror movie.
Yeah. Again, we might comment more on it at the end of the movie, but I think a lot of it had to do with one, PG-13. I don't think had been created yet.
It had not been created yet. And
because of, I guess, the fact that there's very little actual blood and there's no nudity
and no language. There's no harsh language.
Yeah, so that's based on that.
No one says fuck.
Yeah. So I
guess
that's kind of why they
titties. Nothing like that.
No. So I guess that's why I got the PG, which in the long run may have kind of buried this movie, made it harder and made it a little less successful.
I got one more. Dicks.
All right,
I'm done.
You got it out.
Bastard bitch. Crop fat part. All right.
It was written by David Schmoller. It was directed by J. Larry Carroll and David Schmoller as well. And producing it, one of the executive producer, one of the main producers on this was Charles Band, who later went on to create the Full Moon Studio and Pictures and all that. Mm-hmm. So you got some names that came from this. And
it's definitely a Hollywood movie.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Low budget, but definitely, people went in. And as far as the cast goes, there's some interesting cast people here. Maybe I'm going to say a lot of people our age or younger might not know who these people are, especially any millennials, I would doubt it. But older people are going to know who these are. The main character, or the main guy, Mr. Slauson, is played by Chuck Connors.
Chuck Connors, I recognize him right away. I was like, holy shit, that's the Virginian.
Some people will recognize him, but I'm saying a lot of younger people won't.
The only reason I know that is because my grandpa used to watch that with me.
There you go. He's at 135 credits to his name, dating from 2001 all the way back to 1942.
Jesus.
He did stuff like Airplane 2 for the more modern stuff.
I recognize him that,
Soylent Green, which is a classic.
Yep.
And then just a ton of Westerns. Some of the most famous ones, The Rifleman.
The Rifleman, the TV series.
Yeah.
You can still catch that on like some of these old weird channels. You can still catch it in the mid-afternoon. Working at the hospital, there's a lot of old-timers watching Bonanza, The Rifleman, stuff like that. Yeah.
So that's kind of like his big thing. Then we also have John Van Ness. John Van Ness. He was 43 credits. He was in The Postman Always Rings Twice, The Natural, The Hitcher, which is another 80s horror movie. Mm-hmm. Also, and then probably most famously, I would say would be Tanya Roberts.
Tanya Roberts
plays Becky. 41 credits. She was in great cheesy 80s movies like The Beastmaster, Sheena,
Body Slam with Rowdy Piper.
Body Slam.
Yes.
A View to a Kill. She was the Bond girl. Mm-hmm. And she was also the last of the Charlie's Angels. She was in Charlie's Angels. She
was an angel.
She wasn't the original 3, but I guess in the series they kind of brought her in as a 4th angel near the end. And of course, for the more modern
we
times,
need some new titties, guys. Get Tanya Roberts.
She played Donna's mom in That 70s Show.
Yeah.
And supposedly, according to IMDb, Linnea Quigley is credited or is listed as an uncredited mannequin, but I'm suspicious because I don't remember seeing anybody that looked at her at all in this movie, so I don't know. And lastly, the music for this movie and for some people,
what is it? Piano Diageo?
Pino Donaggio, is an Italian guy, big Italian composer. He's got over 200. He's got 202 composing credits. He did the music for the original Carrie, the classic, and then movies like Piranha, Dressed to Kill, and the original Howling, along with just a shit ton of like Italian horror movies.
Right. I wonder if he did any Lucio Fulci movies.
Probably. I didn't go through all 200 of them to find out. So let's jump into Tourist Trap. It's time to kick off our summer road trip now, and here we go.
Road trip.
So the movie, we open with this character named Woody, and he's basically just rolling this tire down the side of a rural road on his way to a gas station. And it shows that his back at his car is this girl Eileen, who's just sitting in a lawn chair underneath a white sheet.
She has this like makeshift tarp because she's sitting there by herself. And I'm thinking, man, how fucking miserable was it? And we lived during this time when we didn't have fucking cell phones. You break down the side of roads, you could be Fucksville. You know, I mean, who knows how long you're gonna be gone? You know, Woody's out there doing God knows what. What if he gets hit by something? She could be sitting out there for days. I mean,
exactly.
It's fucking crazy. Just looking at that, I'm just like, man, fuck that.
So they set up like this white sheet tied to the window and then on some sticks to kind of give her like a little tent, and she's just sitting there chilling. And suddenly, like, now the rest of their friends pull up, like, in the road trip companions, I guess. They pull up in this old Volkswagen Jeep, and which is the kind where even the front windshield collapses down.
Right. It's almost like a military style.
It looks very military-esque. And she basically tells them that they had a flat tire, and Woody went off to the gas station to put air in the spare, because they had a spare, but
air in a spare tire.
In it.
And then they show Woody again rolling a full-ass tire.
Thank you. I was about to ask you, because it looks like it's got plenty of air in it to me if it's rolling along.
It
like
looks
that.
fucking full to me, and if it's not all the way full up, it's full enough that you can limp to the next gas station. I was like,
thank you.
Christ.
I thought I was like, I'm glad I wasn't the only one who thought that.
Little air there.
So we're at Woody. He's rolling. He rolls up to this old roadside diner, and the thing is clearly out of business and abandoned. But he goes in anyway, looking for help.
I need service. I mean, it's clearly no one's there.
No one's there at all. And so he heads up he goes into his back room where he sees what looks like a woman underneath a blanket in the corner. And it turns out it's a mannequin that kind of springs up and starts laughing at him.
So he comes in. He's like, "Ma'am, I need some help, ma'am." Pulls back the cover. Boosh! It's a mannequin laughing maniacally.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, that's fucking creepy. And I'd be like, all right, time to leave. He goes to the door. Wha-boom! Door closes.
And it locks him in. The door locks behind. And now the windows, like the just
open and
floor pan will
close.
start opening by itself and close, and it closes again as soon as he tries to approach it.
Stuff starts smashing through the windows.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A headless mannequin comes through the window. The head falls off as soon as it hits the window.
Starts laughing at him, opening its mouth.
Yeah, the head turns just on the ground, and you see it turn, open its mouth, and start laughing.
So all this stuff is happening with no one else around.
Exactly.
It's like the room is alive or possessed.
It's a perfect way of putting it. Or something like, you've seen like a Poltergeist movie or something.
Right.
But I had to say this note, if you're desperately looking for a way out, why not just go out the now broken window?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Or just break the other window and climb through. Like,
right.
It's just a shitty glass window. Like, it's a thin old window. Just go out the window.
It's already broken. Move that fucking mannequin and go.
Yeah, exactly. But he doesn't. So he finds another door, and he eventually is able to open it, and another mannequin springs out of him, bobbing and cackling like a
funhouse mannequin, like a funhouse spook.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
something you'd see like an animated like haunted house,
a cheap carnival
scare.
haunted house animatronic spook. Yeah.
Yes,
and it's like wiggling back and forth, laughing.
Yeah.
You know, like this really annoying kind of like
yeah,
a
kind of like
laugh.
pretty much.
And it's just going and going and going.
He never stops.
He's freaking out. He picks up this bar. He is able to bust a hole in the door to try and unlock it from the other side.
Yes. So and he does. He breaks this hole in the door and he reaches his arm through. I guess to maybe try to unlock it from the outside. But something we never see what, but something grabs his arm and just kind of holds him there in place.
And he doesn't. He just goes, "Let go. Come on, man." Like he doesn't seem too concerned.
No, he really doesn't. His level of panic is pretty low and tame to what it should be in this situation.
Shit's getting weird in this room.
Yeah.
Someone just grabbed his arm on the other side, and he's like, "Come on, man."
Yeah, it's like somebody, it's like a little kid who's like somebody's playing keep away with something. He's like, "Come on, man, just give it back."
He seems pretty okay.
Yeah,
you know, he seems a little annoyed, maybe a little worried, but.
So yeah, this is now when this big standalone cabinet in the room that comes to life. The doors fly open and all the contents of it just start flying out.
A bunch of bottles, mostly.
Yeah, a lot of glass bottles.
Just a lot of shit comes flying out.
Tin cans.
It's just missing him, smashing against the wall. And remember, he's pinned against the wall because someone's holding him on the other side.
And the mannequins are still laughing and cackling throughout this whole thing. And like even this old bayonet for some reason is in there for some reason, like nearly gets him. Like it misses by a few inches.
And this pipe starts shaking on the floor,
mm-hmm.
lifts up, and whaboof! Everything goes silent. Goes right into his back.
Yeah. And impales him in the back.
And he has his mouth open like he's screaming, but nothing's coming out. Just not even that.
And it kind of pans down. And you see like the blood coming out of the hollow.
Through the hollow end of the pipe.
Yeah. And falling onto the floor. Now so there's Woody.
There goes Woody.
He's done. We go back to the rest of the group, and they're in the Jeep driving now. They left the car on the road, and they pass the sign for Slosson's Lost Oasis Western Museum, 4 miles. So, of course, they pull off and head towards it.
They're like, Woody's got to go there.
Yeah. And so, along the road, they spot a tire lying on the side of the road, and Becca's like, oh, that has to be Woody's tire. I'm like,
why wouldn't he have it with him?
You could have a tire. It could be
Lady,
one.
It could be
anybody's tire. And 2, why would he just leave it there?
So they see the sign, they spot the tire, but they just happen to fly right by this sign that says "Closed to the public" with a giant fucking vulture.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Huh?
Like, that's not ominous or anything like that.
It's huge. It's like it's got its wings spread. It's looking around like, yeah, I'm gonna eat tonight.
It's like they pull up and they happen to notice the old tire in the tall grass that you barely see, but the big ass sign says
huge
"Closed
sign
to the public" with a vulture on. They just fly right by.
Giant buzzard, wings spread, looking around. You know?
I thought. Thank you. I thought the same thing. So they drive further down the road, and of course now the Jeep breaks down. And so the 3 girls, Eileen, Becky, and Molly, they just like, hey, we're gonna. They leave. They head off into the woods, which is always a genius move. And while Jerry stays behind to try to fix it. But it's not too bad for the girls because they actually come across a very a beautiful waterfall
little
landscape.
oasis, it's pretty,
with like a little with a pool of water underneath it and
waterfall.
Nice,
it's real nice.
So they decide to go skinny dipping.
Yeah, they're just like, we didn't bring our bathing suits. It's funny because the bitch who says, who needs a bathing
looks
suit?
Like she's wearing
a fucking bathing suit.
I don't know. It does look like a bathing suit.
Well,
but
maybe it's the 70s or a bodysuit or something.
It's probably a bodysuit.
Fucking close enough.
Yeah, I say close enough too. I thought the same thing. Like it looks like a bathing suit, but like it's the 70s and people wore these weird like bodysuits back then. So I chalked it up to that. But
but still,
same thing.
Good for her. Good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her.
But sadly, like I said, we mentioned we don't see any tits or ass. There's no nudity in this movie.
No, and these are pretty hot.
Yeah, Eileen and Becky. Well, Tanya Roberts. Tanya Roberts is smoking hot in this movie. Good Lord. So the girls are swimming when this man in a tall cowboy hat carrying a double barrel shotgun.
And right when I saw him, I was like, "Hey, it's the rifleman!"
Comes out of the woods and he just starts talking to him. And this is Mr. Slauson, who. The owner of the property, played by Chuck Connors.
This is so. I don't know if it's just the time period or just the way they did this, but he just comes up and they're a little concerned. But I'm thinking of 3 naked women trespassing.
Thank you. I thought the same thing.
And up comes strolling, like he's a big dude. you know,
with a fucking gun,
fucking shotgun.
Yeah.
Like, hello, and they're all naked.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you think they'd be a little more panicked? And they just seemed like, well, let's just cover our tits and talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't agree. Like, I thought the exact same thing. That again, maybe it is just in that era, that time, it wasn't a big that people weren't going to freak out as much. But there were sense. I think like you saw kind of Molly and Tanya Roberts very subtly play up like they were kind of a little freaked out, but they're also trying to be very polite and not show it. So there was some subtleness in the performance.
Yeah.
I still agree with you. I thought there'd be more like, holy shit.
Yeah, more concern.
Yeah, like more concern.
I agree with you. There was kind of that it's pretty well done, I guess, when you approach it from that angle.
So, yeah, and at first, Slauson comes out this really nice, old-timey guy. He does warn them about, don't be here after dark because the water moccasins come out. And he just, like, leaves him. He walks off, so he goes.
He's not, right when you see him, you think he's a creeper, but he's not coming off as creepy. It's his property, and he's just like,
he comes off as a nice guy, just cool guy. He's like, all right.
He's all right.
Yeah. Now, Jerry runs into the girls in the woods on their way back to the Jeep. And I did notice that for swimming in a water hole, they are completely dry. All their clothes are dry. They are dry. Just come on.
Maybe old man Slauson gave him some blankets or
dropped off some towels for him that we didn't see. Yeah, and on the way back, the girls are joking about Slauson that they just met, and they end up back at the Jeep. But when they get back there, they find Mr. Slauson is there waiting for them. He beat him there, and he offers to drive them back to his place where he can grab his tools and come back and help fix the Jeep. So they take him up on the offer, and they pull up to the Lost Oasis Museum, which he says is going out of business. And he gives them like some sodas or some beers or something. He talks to him about his dead wife. And this is where I first noticed that Slauson walks with a limp. A pretty big limp here.
Pretty noticeable limp.
Yeah. So the room they're in has like the main room of this museum has just several mannequins all
it's
throughout.
It's kind of like shitty roadside attraction.
Yeah.
Room, it's a bunch of, again, more animatronic kind of stuff.
I was going to bring this up later, but I'm bringing it up now so I don't forget. It keeps saying he keeps saying over and over wax museum, but it's not a wax museum at all. These things are mannequins to like animatronics that you see in like cheap, like the old like Hall of Presidents at Disney World ride, or some you see like a Chuck E. Cheese or the old Showbiz
like
pizza.
we were saying before, like just kind of like maybe like a fun house animatronics.
Yeah, like they're not wax figures in the slightest, but they keep saying wax museum over and over again.
Yeah, and they are mannequins.
They're clearly mannequins,
but they're well done. So I don't know if wax was used anyway or anything.
They're clearly
but
they all look like your basic mannequin you'll see at any like department store in a window.
A lot of them do. Yeah,
like, pretty much all look like that. So, and again, this is supposed to be a Western museum, and none of the there's only 3 mannequins in this entire museum, in the entire movie, that are dressed somewhat like something from the Old West. And one of them, I barely say Old West because it's a Confederate soldier. It's not really Western. There's one, so they didn't do a very good job of like sticking with the theme of an
kind
Old
of lost
West.
the theme. It's a whole bunch of women and
mostly women.
It's kind of
like modern clothing.
Yeah, modern for the 70s.
Yeah, exactly, for 70s. So Elaine comments on how lifelike they are. And Slauson tells her that her brother made them and that he has since been hired away from here and is out making dummies for like wax museums out in LA or something like that. And he goes over to this little control panel, turns on, these lights pop up, and he shows him this animatronic mannequin dressed like the Confederate officer. And it animates and it goes through the motions of picking up, loading a gun, and shooting its rifle and then putting it back down. And it goes through its whole routine, and then he shuts it back off. So Elaine asks who lives. She sees this large white house out the window, like behind the building, and she's like, "Hey, who lives out there?" And Slauson says, "He doesn't live there. He lives in the museum, and that Davy lives out there." And she asks, "Who's Davy?" And he says, "Oh, Davy Crockett. Who else?" And he just kind of jokes it off, lets it go.
Yeah,
at that.
it's a little weird.
So Slauson then tells the girls, "Hey, guard the place while Jerry and myself will go fix the Jeep and we'll be back.
Don't go in that house."
Yeah, and he also says the phone doesn't work because he has no one to call. And again, warns them not to go outside because he has trouble with coyotes. That's the cover.
The excuse.
The
Yeah.
excuse. As soon as the men leave, Eileen says, "Fuck it." She heads out to go check out the house.
Yeah.
Not even 10 seconds go by, she's gone.
It's like as soon as he leaves, it's like, I'm going to go check out that house.
Even though they specifically told me not to,
Bitch,
I'm out of here.
God damn it.
So,
That's
you know
rude.
what? This all goes downhill because of Eileen, I think. Like,
Yeah,
if you really think about it, if Eileen doesn't go check out that house, none of what follows might actually happen.
Rude.
Yeah.
It's just rude.
So, she enters the house and finds two mannequins dressed as like grandma, grandpa sitting in the living room knitting. They're just sitting there.
One's
like,
kind of rocking a little bit.
Yeah, the rocking chair is moving. And she hears a voice whisper from somewhere.
Whisper her name.
Yeah, and thinking it might be Woody, she goes off looking to try to track it down. Again, the voice whispers her name as she enters another room, and this one is just filled with nothing but female mannequins. And again, all dressed like modern, for 70s modern clothing. And the eyes of one of the mannequins start moving and follows Eileen as she wanders around the room. And for some reason, she decides to play dress up because she finds a red scarf.
Like an ascot,
Yeah, it's like a red scarf. She puts it around her neck, and then she starts primping herself in the mirror.
Yeah, she's just like, no.
Yeah,
this is mine now.
Yeah, exactly. Taking this, and so now all the other mannequins' eyes start moving and start looking at her.
She's not noticing it. She's way too involved.
Which I can understand that. Like they're moving so slowly, and it's dark. I don't think you'd notice it anyway.
Yeah.
Now, we do see someone move into the doorway behind her in the mirror, and suddenly the mirror just shatters. Just breaks out of nowhere.
Nothing hits it, just...
Yeah, exactly, just shatters. And Eileen spins around to see someone dressed in a large black coat and wearing what I guess is supposed to be a mannequin face or a mask.
It's like a mannequin face mask.
Yeah.
So it's like...
But it looks almost more like a ventriloquist dummy face.
That's a very good description. That's like just about perfect. It almost looks like you just said, ventriloquist face mask, but the eyes are blacked out. So the eyes are black.
Yeah.
And you can't see the person's eyes, and you can just see the mouth kind of moving up and down.
Exactly.
It's really weird looking.
It is.
It's very weird looking.
It's not
really scary.
It's not. It's just odd.
Yeah.
And we also noticed that this person is wearing Woody's white Gilligan hat, and I just say Gilligan because it looks like that
It
Gilligan.
does. Yeah,
from
exactly.
Gilligan wear.
Exactly.
So using at this point what now seems to be like telekinetics, the masked person starts flinging objects around the room. And he moves this chair up behind Eileen.
She tries to run. She just stops in her tracks. I don't know if he got hell. He's like a fucked up Professor X.
Yeah,
he's throwing stuff around, keeping her pinned. And
that's a weird. Like she just kind of stops. Like I guess maybe she either. Yeah, I didn't think about maybe. I thought okay, she's frozen fear. It's just this shitty movie making.
But I think it may be a combination of both.
Yeah, but I never thought about the fact that he may have made her stop. But you don't see that, and you never see him use it on people throughout the rest of the movie.
Well, there's a point later on. We'll come to it.
Yeah, okay.
But so, anyway, the chair comes in. She's sitting in the chair, and she's sitting just stone cold scared, staring at him. And the ascot comes up on both sides, and the mannequins are kind of moving back and forth, and going, ah. And it starts, it's really weird. But you'll hear that noise a lot from me during this movie.
Yeah, and again, glass. This movie loves to break glass bottles because there are bottles just flying on the room, breaking everywhere.
And the ascot starts to tighten on her neck.
Yeah,
and she's,
and that's it.
Then we cut away.
She's strangled to death by the scarf death, and
scarf of death.
The scarf of death.
Scarf of death.
And it cuts away to Becky and Molly back in the museum. The two of them find this female model displayed in like this lit up alcove. It almost looks like something like you would see in like a church, almost like where you see like a Virgin Mary in this alcove and candle.
Right.
It kind of looks like that. And they comment on how lifelike it is and how pretty this one is. And they touch it, it
feels like flesh.
Yeah, surprised it's not like a hard wooden mannequin. It's a little more. So technically, I guess this is maybe supposed to be the wax part, but it's still more just latexy rubber, really.
Right. Or could be preserved dead body.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I got.
Yeah. So Becky thinks it's some kind of special rubber. She plays it off. And in comes Slauson, tells the girl that he let Jerry take his truck into town because they couldn't fix the Jeep. And he starts talking about that Becky needs to be a good wife to Jerry, which is kind of a weird thing to say. And this leads him to start talking about his wife then, and she says, "Oh, she died of cancer."
Yeah, okay, we get it, man. You're mopey. Your wife died.
Yeah,
you know. I mean, this is kind of a long scene. It's like,
yeah, it
let's
does.
Wrap it up. You know, your wife died. You're sad.
Basically,
you're
it comes to
living
a
by
point.
yourself.
Eventually, he knows that Eileen's missing, and he gets a little upset. And he goes off to find her. So we're back at the house, and Slauson comes in. And he's calling out for Davy, like Davy, warrior. And not hearing anything, he enters one of the other rooms and finds Eileen dead in the chair. And she's either wearing a mannequin mask or has been turned into a mannequin.
Yeah.
If it's a mannequin, it's wearing the exact same clothes, same hair, the scarf's still there. But again, her face now looks like...
it's got that weird ventriloquist mask kind of thing on. It's sort of mannequin-esque.
Yeah.
It's got that same mask that
the killer
killer has, yeah.
So, meanwhile, the girls back in the museum, they're looking through one of Slauson's photo albums, and they find a picture of his wife and realize it looks just like the mannequin in the alcove. Slauson comes back into the museum now, tells them
again about this stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
and he's like the whole point of the Wax Museum is to remember the past or some crap like that, and it's easy for him to remember his wife this way. And he tells the girls that he didn't find Eileen, that she probably went back to the Jeep. And so he says, like, you know what? Let's go back to Jeep. We'll look for her, and he leaves.
So right off the bat, Slauson's shady.
Yeah, we've seen he's shady.
Shady Slauson. Well, that's tough to say. Shady Slauson. Shady. Is it Slauson?
S-L-A-U-S-E-N.
Shady Slauson.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So
shit.
As soon as he leaves, Molly and Becky grab flashlights, and they too head out.
Yeah, again, he's just like, stick around. Stay here, girls. I'm going to go, go more looking around. And they're just like, all right, see ya. All right, now that he's gone, let's go dig through his shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they leave. And
Tanya Roberts, you bitch. God damn it.
So now they have flashlights. They head out. And Molly here, she does voice concerns about leaving. She's like, "No, we should stay. This is a mistake." But of course they go, and they get to the house, and they see a light on in one of the upstairs rooms, and they also hear Elaine giggling, and which has got to be the loudest giggle ever for them to be able to hear it way outside.
That's a loud giggle.
See, I know, a giggle like, and they're like,
but amplified.
Yeah, but
loud giggle.
Jesus Christ, there's no way you'd hear that from where they're standing. But regardless, they think that she's in there fooling around with Woody.
So how loud does it have to be converted from a giggle to a laugh? Maybe there's a question we'll never know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a giggle.
Or, yeah. See, that's a giggle.
There you go. That's not a giggle. That's a laugh.
Yeah, but how loud can one giggle?
How loud can one giggle?
Because you can laugh pretty loud. But
I guess it's the sound, like more like the style. Like, I mean, you always see like the stereotype of cliche of Japanese girl going.
Yeah.
Giggling. That's a louder.
I wish you could have seen it. Marshall did the hands on the face and everything. He was adorable. Anyway.
So, all right, yeah.
Anyway, but yeah.
So, Becky decides she wants to climb up the terrace and scare the two of them. And Molly's like, no, we just need to head back to the museum. Becky calls her a chicken, says, fuck it. She doesn't really say fuck it because there's no curse in this movie. And she just starts to climb up.
And she scales the scaffolding pretty well.
Molly turns back and...
Or the lattice.
She turns back to watch as Becky climbs up into the open window. Molly walks back to the museum. Inside, Becky enters this dark room, again, filled with mannequins, and she keeps like, Eileen, Woody, I know you're in here. Where you guys at? Blah, blah, blah. And...
yeah, she's clowning. She's shining the light on her face, acting spooky, like, ooh.
Yeah, and I know this might be a very small, nitpicky thing, but it kind of bothered me that she thinks that they're in this room, because when they're outside, they could, oh, look, they're in that room. The lights turned on. The room she climbs into is completely dark.
Yeah.
And so... why would she just not go straight to the room that had the lights on it looking for him, but she doesn't. So the logic there, it just didn't make any sense. I didn't like it. And so she's looking around this room, and she's starting to become more frightened now. And we see the killer in the mannequin mask emerge from the shadows behind her. Becky hears a whispered voice say her name and walks off looking for the source.
Becky.
Yeah. And she enters this other room to find Eileen's mannequin, or Eileen, whoever, sitting in the chair with her back to her now. Mm-hmm. And Becky approaches it and spins the chair around. Once she does, the Eileen mannequin springs to life. Its
arms reach out.
Yeah, arms lurch out towards Becky. Now, again, I'm like, is this supposed to be the killer dressed as Eileen mannequin?
Is Eileen alive?
Yeah, but
what's going on?
If it's supposed to be the killer, we just saw the killer
right
behind her, and now she's inside, or is the killer controlling the mannequin? It's really confusing.
I totally agree.
What's fucking going on? Becky runs away, but the door slams shut and locks like we've seen like 3 or 4 times already now.
The room starts to come alive again.
Yeah, and all the doors shut, slammed, bolted, closed. She struggles to open one of the doors. Finally, it opens.
Managed to open the door.
And it's like the gag of like a messy closet where you open the door and nothing but like toys and balls and boxes fall on top of you. Only instead, it's mannequins.
It's all mannequins just spilling out on her. It's comical.
Yeah, it's a dozen mannequins fall out of this.
It's just dozens and dozens of just pouring out of this door, falling on her. And she's like, she's getting buried under these mannequins.
Yeah, exactly. She's buried underneath them. And the killer walks and kneels down over her, touches her face. She is able to grab a mannequin hand at this point and hit him over the head with it.
Knocking him goofy for a minute.
And I don't know about it for you, but for me, basically from almost every scene that takes place from here on out, this movie is really, really dark. Like the lighting is bad. There's some things that are very hard to see what's happening.
It's almost candlelit.
Yeah. Which I guess if you're going for that atmosphere, fine. But on film, it doesn't translate.
It doesn't work for film.
No, because maybe like digital age now, but on these old grain films, you cannot see what's happening most of this time. So Becky manages to squirm out from underneath the mannequins, but as soon as she does, all the other mannequins in the room begin to move and sway back and forth while they're moaning and sighing like they're having an orgasm.
Yes. They're all topless female mannequins, and their mouths are open and going, and that's the same sound over and over again.
Yeah.
And then again, 1, 2, 3, they all just start falling like dominoes.
She's buried again.
And she's just getting orgy raped by these horny mannequins. I mean, it's ridiculous. They just come flopping down, and I'm like,
bonkers, man.
Jesus.
It's so. Again, now we cut to this goddamn. We cut to somewhere. It's so goddamn dark. I can't tell what I'm looking at. All I hear is breathing and water dripping. Finally, a light comes on to reveal some woman. It's this totally new woman strapped to a table in the basement. The door creaks open, and Davey walks down the stairs carrying an unconscious Becky in his arms.
Davey is the killer.
Yeah. So he says to the girl, "I brought you a visitor. You're so pretty. Why don't you like me?" And then he just heads back upstairs.
Why don't you like me?
Yeah, he talks. Yeah,
he talks like this the whole time.
Yeah, it's like one step away from somebody with a voice box.
He's very monotone. Doesn't go up and down in his inflection.
Yeah, that's
pretty
a
girls.
Great impersonation.
Thank you.
So he hands back to her, and now it turns out that we also find out that Jerry is tied up in the basement too.
So, kind of going back to what you said, if it wasn't for Eileen, but now, I mean, looks like Jerry's fucked from the beginning. So it looks like this may have been
we don't
his whole
necessarily
catalyst.
Know that.
Yeah, but why the fuck is Jerry there?
Well, here's my theory.
Okay.
Again, Eileen fucks it all up from the beginning going out. Because I'm going to say, originally, let's say, Slauson grabs his tools, goes help Jerry to fix it. And maybe they really are.
So they are buddy just helping each other
out. And then
out.
when he comes back and finds Eileen's gone, that's what seems like, fuck. And then when he finds, once that happens, and then he says, because he does say, I'm going to go back and, look for Eileen at the Jeep. That's where Jerry could have been snatched or something like
you're right. It could have happened.
I still think Eileen fucks everybody in this movie.
Blaming the woman.
Blaming the woman.
Typical man.
So the other girl now on the table speaks up, and she tells them that he's going to kill them all. And she explains that she was caught by him while stopping at a gas station along the highway. She never even saw him coming. And while she's talking, Jerry is trying to use his teeth to cut through his ropes or undo the
teeny tiny twine-like rope that he's tied up with.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Jerry.
So elsewhere we watch.
Should be able to get at that pretty quick, man.
You would think so. Yeah. We watch Davey as he applies
Unless he's got soft teeth. I
don't know. Soft teeth. We see Davey sitting in front of a mirror, applying makeup to the mask or the face.
Yeah,
he's wearing.
He's dressing himself up.
So again, now we're getting very Leatherface Chainsaw Massacre-ish with this stuff. And he's mumbling to himself like, "Hurry up, or your brother's gonna find you," or something like crap like that. And he puts on a top hat.
He's got a tux on.
Yeah, he's got
a tux. He's got a full tux.
Puts on a top hat. Picks up like a silver tray and
with
heads
drinks
back
on it. Yeah,
and heads back down to the basement. And in the basement,
have a party.
Yeah, and now I kind of see it a little better in the basement scene here, and we notice that there's like just mannequin parts hanging from the ceiling and heads just lining the wall. He tells his captives that they're going to have a party.
Yeah.
And he pours, I guess, some water or tea or whatever it is into a glass and tells Becky to drink it. He offers the same thing to the girl on the table. She refuses it, so he drinks it, and then just gets pissed off and breaks the glass on the floor and tells her it doesn't matter, the party's over. So,
yeah.
God damn, that's one hell of a short party.
That was a quick party,
man.
That's
like, woo, we're going to have a party. 10
having
seconds
one
later,
drink.
Party's over.
Once you break a glass at a party, party's over. Yeah. There's no better exit than that. So slam that brew and smash that glass.
I'm out. So Davey says to her, again, "You're so pretty. It's a shame that you have to die." And this gets really kind of fucking dark. He straps her head down, and again he says to her, "It will be pretty, but it won't be easy. You'll die of fright." And with that, he begins to cover her face in plaster. And while he applies it, he's talking to her the whole time.
He's describing everything that's happening to her. Like, the plaster's starting to dry.
Yeah, he says, "It feels good, doesn't it? Nice and cool. The funny thing about the plaster is that when it starts to dry, it heats up and burns the skin." Which, I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't really want to find out. Jerry's continuing to try to chew through his ties, and Dave just keeps talking to the girl, and more plastic going on her face. And he says, "You'll panic as I seal your lips, now your eyes. Oh, your face is burning now. The plaster is getting tight. Your world is dark. You'll never see again. It's getting hard to breathe, isn't it? I'm going to seal the last openings. You won't be able to breathe, but you won't suffocate. Your heart will burst from fright before you lose consciousness."
Your heart will burst from fright.
And
that's a first.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say, I guess technically you would have a heart attack from fright. I mean, people would say they, died of fright, and which I guess is really just
be a heart attack.
Yeah, basically just having a heart attack. So I guess
it's a young, healthy lass, though.
Yeah, but I mean, in that situation, if you're, I don't know. I'm going to say no, but...
Well, hey, we'll go with it.
Yeah.
All right. Heart blowing up.
Yeah, so the girl, her body starts trembling, and we hear her heart pumping faster and faster. And her body gives one last convulsion, and she dies.
Limp.
She goes, yeah.
Limp as a bonefish.
And
that's from Lord of the Rings. Sorry.
After she dies, Davey says, "Now she's one of us." I just want to say that scene, that whole plastic scene, was the one scene in this movie that I was like, that actually, I felt something, I reacted to. Like, I was like, that's fucking terrifying.
Now,
again, just put myself in that situation. Like, this would be awful way to die. Like, it's just, I mean, not just for the girl that's having to, but if the two have to sit there and watch this,
sure,
and watch it happen, and then think like, oh my God, this is going to happen to me. Like, it's kind of fucking dark. And
I agree with you.
One scene that got
I agree with you. However, I think it could have been done better. I mean, there was... The girl on the floor wasn't doing anything, just watching silently, captivated.
I'm not
Davey, or not Davey, but the guy Jerry was tied up. I mean, I get it; he's trying to get loose. But the girl who was actually getting smeared on, she wasn't really reacting too much.
She's completely at the time. She's strapped down.
It was a good scene. It could have been. I just think it could have been done a little better.
I won't deny that. Everything's movie could be done better. But I'm just saying, for this whole, based on what this movie was and what we had to go with, this is a scene that made me actually feel something and feel like, God, that would be terrifying.
Scary. Yes. The scariest moment of the movie.
Yeah, to me it was. It was scary.
I will totally agree with that part. Yes, yes.
And then the fact that he's talking, he's like, you're covering up your lips, you can't breathe now, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh,
well, you had better delivery than he did, though, because he talked like this the whole time.
You know what it reminded me of? I don't know if you'll ever hear this, but it was something very similar. It's not exactly the same, but it reminded me of some of the murder scenes in the Kenny Sills book Tattoo from the convention.
Oh, yeah?
There was very, very similar
This may
about,
be this kind of the precursor to torture horror or whatever, like your Hostels.
Yeah,
or,
I mean something like
or
that.
Your Saws or something like that.
Maybe
it could be
very early evolution of it, like the very
sure, but you could definitely see there's inspiration from scenes like this.
That. Yeah, I can understand that. So back to the movie. Jerry does break free of this and attacks Davy.
Yeah, too late.
Yeah.
Sorry, girl. As soon as she dies, he breaks free.
Exactly. So they fire on the floor, but again, it's so dark I can't really tell what's happening. All I see is that Jerry gets launched across the room and slams up against the brick wall.
Like flung, like a catapult.
Like, God damn, Davey must have like Hulk's like strength to be able to send him flying across the room because he's on his back. Like he sends him across the room by like flinging him from his back.
Jerry's in, again, mixed martial arts in, like, the full mount position, which is a very dominant position, and he gets thrown
like
all,
8 feet, like
whoosh,
6-8 feet across the room.
Smashes against the wall.
So Davey gets up, grabs Jerry by the neck, and not only does he lift him up off the ground, but he lifts him several inches off the ground.
And this is so slow motion.
Yeah.
This is such, like, shitty, this is, like... I don't know whose problem this was. It has to be the director's. But, I mean, when he throws against the wall, he just, like, shakes it off. And then he's like, he's basically putting his hands up like, whoa. Let's talk about this. But it's like, there's no sense of urgency. He's right next to the fucking stairway.
Yeah, he could
just run up the stairs. But he's like, wait, whoa. Just got his arms up. And Davey slowly walks. There's a good, like, 30 seconds of time here where nothing's happening. Jerry's just got his hands up like, whoa, buddy.
Yeah.
Whoa. I'm just like, this is a joke.
Yeah, and I think at this point he started strangling Jerry with like one hand or something like that.
He lifts him off the ground, which is bullshit.
Yeah, of course. You know how I feel about that too. Now we go back to Molly, who's pacing around the museum, and she starts touching the wife man again, and even like drapes some of the clothing on the mannequin like over herself. It's really fucking weird. Like, who would do that?
They're taking ascots and sneaking around and trying on clothes.
It makes no sense. I don't know. It's just weird. Now, again, it jumps right back to Becky in the basement. Davey is talking to her about some pretty girl that he kept here that his brother didn't know about. I guess might have been the one he just killed with the plaster. I don't know. And he also says some lines along the, I don't know, like his brother's stupid. All he cares about is that museum of his. I hate him. One day I'm going to kill him. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so Jerry's alive. Jerry's just tied up.
Yeah.
They show him again. He's just, he just grabbed him by the throat, lifted him up the ground. You think he's Fucksville. Nah, just tie him back up.
Yeah. Exactly. And he does go and say that his brother's the one that makes him wear these masks because I'm better looking than he is, and he's afraid that he was afraid that his wife would have left him for me because that's why he makes me wear a mask. So, which is weird. Like, why can't you? How can somebody make you wear a mask? Like, just take it off.
Right.
I mean, unless it's like the old, like, the Man in the Iron Mask, like the medieval times where they lock you in the mask.
Yeah.
Like then I can see, like, okay, you're four. It's locked on, but just take it off. So David just keeps talking. He goes into full Bond villain mode here.
Man, you are boring to listen to.
Yeah, and he's talking about how no one comes out here anymore. No one cares. The gas station is the perfect place. That's where he said Tina met her. But again, it clearly wasn't a gas station where he
bitching about his life.
Yeah,
like, come on, dude, we all got problems.
I don't know what gas station is because when they took Woody, that was clearly a diner, not a gas station.
Right. Well, it could have been diner gas station. Those 70s spots.
Yeah, maybe. So, again, he demonstrates his telepathic powers by making some little object move, and he says it feels good to use it, that he shouldn't have to hide it, but sometimes it does scare him.
So now it's clearly been established that he has powers.
Yes, now it's an established.
So, I mean, we basically knew this, but, nothing was ever confirmed, but now it's, he's got fucking superpowers.
And they never explain where it comes from or how. He just has it.
And so I'll let the throwing of Jerry to the side go a little bit. That may be power induced.
I didn't think about that. Maybe
it may be.
But if he's got this power, then why is it these people like even running from? Why is he just like, you know what, and like you basically like use the force, like force push, force pull, and just like pull him to like.
Again, the thing is, like you said, it's just not. We don't really know why or how it works. So
Anyway, during his whole monologue, Davy's sitting there painting like the plaster mold of Tina's face. And we go back to Molly, who's now outside again, wandering around and calling out for Eileen. She, too, now hears whispering of her name. Somebody whispering her name.
Molly.
And from out of nowhere, Davy pops up.
We just saw him
in the basement. And now he's outside. He pops up holding a mannequin head in one hand. The mannequin is, again, wearing Woody's hat. And Davy's wearing like a female mannequin face with a blonde wig.
It's fucking weird.
He makes the head scream. The head's like,
mouth open, and it makes this. It's not his voice
no,
either.
It's not.
A totally different type of voice. It's
not even that. It's more like high pitch, almost more feminine.
So weird.
Yeah. Molly's like, fuck. She turns and runs. So of course, and he goes after her. So while he's chasing after her, he makes the mannequin scream out her name. So, which again, that's kind of creepy. Like he's running, you see the head going, and the head's going, Molly, Molly.
He's chasing. It's like, pretty lady, pretty lady, look at my friend. And he's like yelling that. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah,
this is really strange. He just goes, pretty lady, come back. Hold on, look at my friend. It's like, that's what he wants. What?
Molly comes, she runs into a fence and she starts like feeling her way along, and eventually she finds a spot where she can climb up over it and moves on. Davy throws the head at her over the fence. It hits her, and when it lands on the ground, the head rolls over to face her and again screams out her name. Yeah. And she
it screams her name. It's like, Molly! What the fuck?
And she runs off again. And this time she's running through the woods. A truck drives up behind her. Molly flags it down, gets in, and it's Slauson driving the truck. And he's like, what happened? What happened? And they get in, and they drive off together. Now, she tells Slauson that a man wearing a mask attacked her, and he slams on the brakes, saying, dear God, that man was my brother.
He just slams on the brakes and goes, that's my brother.
Yeah.
It's like he's pretty honest and open.
Well, he's like, dear God, that was my brother. Oh, that man's, yeah. And Molly accuses him. He's like, hey, you knew about it. You're hiding him, aren't you? And so I was like, well, he's never hurt anybody before, so I didn't have any. And it's like, we need to go to get the police. And Slauson's like, nope. We need to.
I'm going to bring him in myself.
We're going to bring him myself. And now he starts driving off again.
They have a plan to turn.
We're getting that, yeah.
Okay.
So he does ask her what mask he was wearing, and she tells him it was a doll mask. And now Slauson tries to explain that away by saying, oh, he's trying to look like me because when I was a little boy, he always wanted to be like me. So now
there's this weird sibling rivalry thing going on here where they're like, I'm better looking. No, I'm better. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's like,
Jesus, guys. It's got some Adonis complex going on here.
And so he's like, we're going to go back to the house, and this is what you're about to say. We're going to use the radio to lure him in.
Lure him in, because apparently
he can't resist the sound of a radio.
Loves the radio.
All we got to do is turn it on, and he'll come running.
Gotta hear the ball game. I don't know.
So Molly is adamant about like not wanting to go back there at all.
Yeah,
he's like, I don't want to go there. No way.
It's actually pretty good. She's like, no. And I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
It's like that's exactly what I'd say. Like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
This is a horrible idea.
But he counters her no with saying that I don't want the cops to shoot him down like an animal. I want to know where he is when I get to police. You don't even have to come into the house.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So they pull up to the front of the house. She decides now she's scared and doesn't want to be alone, and so she gets out to go with them. He gives her the shotgun and goes inside. And she's staying outside holding the shotgun. It's not long before she starts getting scared. I mean, we're talking a few seconds go by, and she's like, Slauson! Mr. Slauson, where are you?
But you start hearing a whole bunch of animals howling in the background, a bunch of coyotes.
Well, they do have coyote problem. Yeah.
It starts to pick up. It's getting kind of tense. You don't hear him coming back, and all of a sudden you hear the radio turn on.
Radio comes on.
Oh, okay, come on, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Here's radio. A little bit relieved by that. Davy now comes out from the darkness. Molly screams for Mr. Slauson again. Davy starts slowly walking towards her. Finally, she holds up the gun, pulls the trigger,
Boom.
shooting Davy point blank range with a shotgun.
Right in the guts.
He gets right back up and takes a few staggering steps towards
Another
her.
shot.
Boom! Yeah, blast him again, point blank range. Falls to the ground, but once again he gets up. And I'm like, holy shit, This guy's still alive after taking two point-blank shots with a shotgun
to the guts.
This is insane.
Yeah.
Good fuck. But I will say the movie answers that question for me, and it turns out Davey tells Molly, "You shot me with blanks." So I'm like, okay, the movie, I'll buy that.
All right, thanks, movie.
Thank you, movie, for clearing that up.
Because that was going to be inexcusable.
Yeah. And he starts laughing a bit, but not for very long.
Not for very long, because he's like, blanks, huh?
Whacks him over the head with a shotgun.
Mollywops that motherfucker in the head.
Yeah.
And shatters his face.
Yeah.
Like, quite literally.
Yeah, the mask
shatters his face.
The mask breaks, which I guess is supposed to be plastic the way it shatters. And he removes the broken... Davey removes the broken mask.
Ripping the broken pieces off.
To reveal that Davey is really Mr. Slauson. Oh! Like...
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah, obvious.
But there,
again, 1970,
Yeah, this was my problem though. Is that scene we just went back to when she climbed over the fence? He chucked the head at her and goes, "Molly!" And then all of a sudden he pulls up in the truck.
Mm-hmm.
How does he do that?
Yeah, the timing makes no sense. How he goes, how he changes clothes so quickly back and forth,
different areas,
So. I have a big problem with that too. We totally agree.
We'll talk about that later.
So Molly takes off running into the woods. She stops, looks around, realizing that she has no idea where she is or where to go, but she heads off again, screaming out for Jerry. Again, she stops, looks around, but this time she thinks she hears footsteps. So what does she do? Why, she backs up into the lake or a pond or something until the water is waist high. And she's looking back at the shoreline and into the woods when Slauson emerges from the water like fucking Rambo or a ninja or something.
He should have a Bowie knife in his teeth.
Like the red headband with a Bowie knife.
Right. He just comes out of the water behind her.
With this big old grin on his face.
Just this crazy look. And he grabs her, and she turns. He doesn't grab her by the neck. He just grabs her by the face.
Like the neck or the shoulder, something.
He grabs her by the fucking cheeks.
Yeah, she turns around and then grabs her,
and she just goes. She just sinks into the water.
Yeah, like she doesn't even put up a shoulder. I guess she does, but yeah, it looks like he just lowers her, lowers her under the water,
like
and then holds her there until we cut away.
Yeah, I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. So we cut back to Becky, who's still tied up in the basement. Using her foot, she's able to slide a small knife or something over to Jerry.
Like a file or something.
Yeah, who uses it to cut himself free. Now, Slauson enters this dark room where Eileen's mannequin still sits, and he sets down this bowl of soup and says, "Let's eat."
Oh. God damn, this scene is so fucking weird. So... all I know is that I think Molly's dead. Okay, so let's just,
at this point, you think she's been drowned.
He just got rid of Molly. He goes upstairs, and he is an Eileen, and he comes in, and he's got soup and crackers. And he sets down the tray, and he's talking to the mannequin like, "Hi, well, it's time to eat. You ready to eat?" The mannequin kind of comes alive and looks over at him.
The mannequin comes alive once he puts on a mask himself.
Yeah, because he's trying to talk to it, and he goes, "Oh, hold on." And he puts on the mask.
And then the mannequin
starts talking like this.
Yeah.
And the mask comes alive, the mannequin comes alive. The Eileen mannequin is like, "Yes, let's have some food." And she's talking like that. And it's so weird. He starts feeding her soup.
And shoving crackers in her face.
And it's kind of falling over, but he, puts it back up. He doesn't have it's like he's got control of it, but not total control.
Well, the funny thing is, it's really bizarre, but when he shoves crackers into the mannequin's mouth, the head falls off, and someone says, "Oh, I have to fix that." It's like,
so
what?
Weird. And the music that's going on is like,
yeah,
it's so bizarre.
So now we cut back to Molly. We find her.
Molly's alive.
We find her waking up in some bed where some woman is just taking care of her. Huh? Wait, we don't know what.
She's got big brown bushy hair,
yeah,
and these giant 70s glasses, and like a turtleneck.
Yeah,
and she's like taking care of her.
She's like wiping her head off with a towel, like patting her dry, and she gives her a drink of water. And Molly asks, "Can you take me home?" And the woman says nothing and just kind of turns away from her at that point. You never see this woman again.
No!
Ever.
Who is that?
I don't know.
What was that?
I don't fucking know.
That's so weird. I don't... There's a brand new character. I'm like, okay, who's this? Is it a sister? Is it someone else? There's a whole new family member? Is it another caught person who's like all of a sudden be like, oh, we're gonna live here? You know, it's interesting. I'm like, okay, nope. Gone. Never see her again. Mystery. Who? Damn it.
You sound like me right now.
No, I'm losing my shit now. You're usually the one going crazy.
I know. So we go back to Becky and Jerry. Jerry unties Becky and they head upstairs, where they enter this long, dark hallway that's just lined with mannequins. It's just mannequins all up and down this hall.
Just oodles of mannequins.
And in an attached side room, we see Slauson sitting there, dressed in his mask, playing with dolls.
Back in that room where the two old
and
mannequins
he's surrounded by grandma mannequin. And Jerry
he's listening to the radio playing on the floor.
Yeah. And Jerry manages to sneak across the open doorway and get to the other side, but Slauson thinks he hears some turns and heads out to the hallway to check. So we have Jerry on one side of the door, the hallway, with Becky still trapped on the other. And they basically, what they do is press themselves flat up against the wall and try and blend in
with the lining of mannequins.
Yeah.
Which isn't a horrible idea.
No, it's not. I mean, it's just dark, and what else are you going to do? That's pretty your best bet
Except
at that
for
point.
Jerry. I mean, it's all female mannequins, although he does have kind of permy hair.
Yeah, he had the same bird. But it's so dark, and there's mannequins sticking out, and I'll give him a break for that. But
we'll let it slide.
Jerry was close. He could have just turned and ran. He could have just booked it.
Yeah, but he's still got Tanya Roberts to worry about.
Yeah, I guess. So
I think I know what you would have done. Fuck off, Tanya. I'm out of here.
No.
I don't care how hot you are.
No, that makes sense. She's the one that's supposed to be a good wife to Jerry, so I guess they're supposed to be the couple. They would have stayed. Yeah. So once Slauson looks around, doesn't see him, he goes back into the room. Jerry leaves his hiding spot and starts looking for a way out. He enters this much larger room, and he goes from window to window looking for one that might be open or unlocked or something. But suddenly, Slauson flings open these sliding double doors. Jerry spins around, sees Slauson, and just says, fuck it, and leaves, just jumps through a glass window, crashing through it to the other side, and then gets up and runs.
He lands on his feet.
Well, because it's the front porch, so he hits the railing, like the wooden railing.
It's pretty impressive. He just like sees it, he's like, fuck this, and jumps through. Like, it was great.
Yeah.
I loved it. Slow motion.
Yeah, slow motion smash it. Yeah. And so he takes off running.
So, you know what? He did say, sorry, Becky.
Yeah, sorry, Becky. Now I'm out of here.
We're done. We're done.
So Slauson then climbs through the window after him. He takes a few steps towards the direction Jerry runs off and stops and says, you can't get away from me. And now, while he's turned that way and he's facing the camera, behind him we see Becky climbing out through that same window, and she takes off running the other direction.
So now Jerry and Becky have completely separated.
Yeah, they go opposite directions. Slauson turns around in time to see Becky running away and chooses to go after her.
And he's dressed as Davies now.
Yeah, he's back. He's still dressed. Yeah, he's back. He's dressed as Davies. But then this is the same thing. If he has the telekinetic powers, just like stop, or pull, use it to pull her towards it.
We just don't know what's going on with
it.
So,
Becky just runs for a bit and then just stops. She just stops and drops to the ground crying. I don't know why she stops. She just does.
She just can't take it anymore.
But now we see Slauson, dressed as Slauson, limping up behind her.
No, he comes from the front. He comes to the front of her. He doesn't come up behind her. That's the thing that bothers me again, because we've already established Slauson and Davies are the same person.
Again, it was dark. I thought the way she dropped to her knees.
She dropped her knees. I
thought he came up from behind her.
He came out of bushes in front of her with his gun in his overalls. And he's just like, what happened to you? Oh, you poor girl. And like scoops her up.
Exactly. And because she's never seen, she doesn't know that he's
right. I understand that, but we've already established that he is. How does he do this?
Yeah.
How does he do this?
So he's feigned concern for her picture. Yeah, like I say, he carries her off. And he takes her back to the museum where he lays her on a bed there. And he says he can go get a first aid kit. After a moment, Becky gets up, starts looking around.
Again, just being nosy.
Yeah.
God damn. You're just having like a traumatic experience.
Stop being nosy.
Just get out of there.
If this movie teaches you anything, people, don't be nosy. You get killed. So the showroom lights up, like the main museum area lights up, and all the animatronic mannequins like light up.
That
and
we were
start,
talking about before, the Confederate soldiers,
and
the Western ones.
Becky sees Woody now, who's been turned into a mannequin himself. Lights come on, showing Slauson sitting in like a rocking chair, just laughing as these mannequins are lit up behind him. And the Confederate mannequin and the General Custer mannequin, they turn on and they pick up their gun and they start shooting real bullets this time at Becky. And they just start bang, 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 bang. And Becky's like,
shit's getting shot and blown up.
Again,
all
more
over.
glass bottles are getting shattered.
Slauson's laughing.
She runs off for cover as bullets just tear into the other mannequin parts behind her, just tearing over. Now, I have a problem with this. Again, the General Custer has 2 6-shooters, so I'll give the 12 round. The Confederate officer has the old like musket. That's like 1 round, and then you have to like do the whole like push the gunpowder down, stick it with the big. There's no way that thing is like firing repeatedly.
That's your problem?
Yes, that's my problem.
That's your problem with this?
One of them, yes. That's a 1-shot rifle.
Oh boy.
Anyway, so she takes cover as from the barrage of bullets zooming past her. Slauson's just sitting there laughing.
Thinks it's hilarious.
And now the Indian mannequin comes to life and starts throwing tomahawks.
Chucking tomahawks at her.
Again, this mannequin also has an endless supply of tomahawks,
He's
too.
like 3 or 4 of these.
He throws like 3. I'm like, where's he getting these tomahawks?
It's like spring into his hand, and finally he throws one.
Well, Becky makes a break for the door.
Yeah,
She's like, okay, I gotta go. She makes a break for the door, gets to the door, but as soon as she reaches it, she gets
tomahawk in the back of the motherfucking head.
Is it the head? I thought it was the back.
Whatever.
In the back. Yeah, all right. She gets. Yeah,
I
she
had
gets
that great
tomahawk.
delivery. Just stick with me on
Sorry,
that one.
you're right.
Okay.
I ruined it.
Regardless, tomahawk in the back.
There you go.
Head, neck, shoulders, whatever.
Yeah, she slides
but
down
she
the
kinda,
wall.
like reaches back for it, and then it gets quiet and silent.
Again.
And it shows Slauson, and he's just kind of. He almost looks like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Well,
He almost looks like sad in a way.
Well, after she dies, like as soon as she dies, this other random mannequin like reaches, like tips his hat and bows. Like it's so weird. Like what? And so now we see Slauson, who's dressed as Davy again, enter the room where Molly's asleep on the bed.
That woman is gone.
Yeah, the woman's completely gone. He picks her up and carries her out of the room. And he lays her down at the feet of his wife's mannequin. So now he's back in the museum, which this is confusing because what is this? Because we just saw Becky in the bed in the museum, but now, so unless there's a second room, there's 2 beds in this place, which
because Becky just got killed there.
Yeah. Plus the fact, her body should still be there, but you never see her body.
No,
it's never, and even Molly never see.
But did he have time to clean up? Because there was, I guess. He's got to go pick her up. I mean, that's possible.
Technically, yeah.
But again, we just don't. It gets confusing.
Yeah, it does get confusing. So using his powers, he slams the door shut, bolts it, sits back down, and removes his mask and wig, and he just sits there while he waits for Maya to wake up.
He's just creepily staring.
Yeah,
at her.
and eventually she does, and she starts to crawl away. She's on the floor, she's crawling, and I don't think she even at this point even sees him sitting there watching her. But she's crawling away. The mannequins begin to move. They all turn to look at her, and one by one,
around.
They're doing the sign. Some are sighing, and others are screaming. Molly, at this point, Molly snaps, and she starts yelling, "Stop! Stop!" over and over again, and then she just collapses onto the ground. Slauson picks her up, saying it's time, and drags her to what used to be his brother's room and places her on a bed again. And tells her that the brother's dead now, and there's more lines he tells Molly about that she's not like the others, that there's something special about her, and that he's going to take care of her. And he covers his face with a mask.
He takes the death mask of his wife.
Is it that
That's
one?
what he said, yeah.
Okay.
And puts it on her face and starts making out with it.
Yeah, he starts kissing Molly with the mask
and
on.
kissing through it. It's
She's like, "Stop it, please." She's begging him to stop. So he does. He stops. He removes the mask and says to her, "Talk to me. Tell me you love me."
You
and
have to tell me.
Tell me you love me over and over again.
He looks fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
He looks real intense.
And of course, so Molly, again, doing the right thing at this point, says, "I love you. I love you." And Slauson then starts rubbing his face up against hers. And again, suddenly he just stops and then starts backing away from her and tells her that he killed both of them. Molly grabs a doll and holds it tight. And I just have to mention that. God, I'm sorry, but goddamn, if I was in that situation, a doll would be the last thing I would ever want to hug, hold, or have anywhere near me.
Right.
But she holds it like a little girl, like would hold a doll in bed. It's like Jesus.
So yeah, he's going on about how he killed them both, and apparently,
this meaning his wife and his brother.
His brother was fucking his wife behind his back, making him a cuckold.
Yep.
And he found out.
And then he says he has a legal right to kill both of them if the husband finds out the wife is cheating on him.
Really? Are you living in Saudi Arabia?
I think at one point, I think in Texas that was a law for a long time.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's one of those like weird like laws people forget about until they go back like, holy shit, this is still, we have to change this.
You have to dust off the old charter.
Yeah.
You know, be like, says here, you can kill you can kill a man if they're cheating on you with his wife.
I won't say that. It's definitely like like an Old West law or something like that.
He was the rifleman.
Yeah. So he continues to say that after a while he missed her, and that led him to make the mannequin of her. And he starts crying now, saying, I didn't really want to kill them. And now we hear the sounds of a door trying to be opened. And off screen, we hear Jerry calling out for Molly. Slauson gets up.
And they're both just watching the door.
Yeah.
Him slowly breaking in.
Yeah, and he gets up and just stands there, watches the door. As Molly hops up off the bed, the door finally opens. Jerry rushes in.
He's armed with a tomahawk.
Is he armed? Okay,
I agree. One of those fucking tomahawks.
Again, it was so dark, I can't tell. Jerry tells Molly to come on, waves her over to him. Slauson still doesn't move. He just stands there watching.
Just letting it happen.
Yeah, and Molly slowly begins like, okay, I'm doing it. And he goes towards Jerry. She reaches him. Jerry kind of puts her behind him and like saying, and tells Slauson, game over. We're going home. Where are the other two? Slauson says he doesn't know what he's talking about. Molly tells Jerry, like, kill him.
Yeah,
kill him,
like,
Jerry.
Kill him.
Jerry threatens Slauson and says, I don't want to have to hurt you, but blah, blah, blah. With that, Slauson now begins laughing, just really laughing again, and he starts approaching the two of them. Again, Molly's like begging Jerry to kill Slauson.
Kill him.
Slauson laughs and says he couldn't if he wanted to, and then reaches out and just pulls off Jerry's arm, revealing that it's a fucking mannequin arm.
Huh?
What? And then he twists and removes Jerry's head
Pulls
and
his head off.
Throws it to the ground.
Smashes it on the ground. Again, a mannequin type head.
Yeah.
Smashes on the ground.
There's a lot of quick cuts between obviously Jerry, obviously a mannequin, obviously Jerry. And once again, now all the other mannequins come to life as Slauson just laughs maniacally.
Scoops up one of the mannequins.
It's his wife's mannequin.
And just starts dancing with it.
Yeah, Molly drops to the ground screaming, this can't be happening.
She's freaking out, and he's
like,
is.
Oh, but it is Molly. Look, they're all alive. And this is where he starts, he's dancing with his mannequin wife.
They start showing the mannequins they're coming alive. Yeah, they're walking around.
We have all that, more of that sign moaning is heard just from here on out.
Yeah.
And while he's spinning, he's dancing with his wife, spinning in circles, and it would be one of those things like every time the mannequins would spin around, you'd see it would be like a real woman, and then it would turn right back into a mannequin, real woman mannequin.
Yeah, and they'd flash around the room. You'd see different mannequins walking towards him.
Yeah.
Some look fucking creepy.
Yeah, he continues, and and there one of the mannequins is like a little child.
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from? What does that mean? He murdered a child somewhere along the way? I don't know. So Molly, while he's dancing, Molly reaches for an axe, which I don't know where the fuck that came from.
That could have been the tomahawk. I could have been.
No, this was a full out axe because it had a full long handle. And the mannequin starts screaming out, like, and trying to warn Slauson as Molly drives the axe into Slauson's neck. He stumbles around a bit trying to remove the axe, but finally
everything goes silent.
Yeah, he falls to the floor dead. Molly just screams like, ah! Cut to like the rural roads where we see Molly driving the Jeep, which is suddenly fixed. And instead of all of her friends in the car, she's filled it up with the mannequins of her friend. The mannequin version, and she's got this crazy grin on her face. She's driving down the road, freeze frame, fade to black, roll credits. Woo! Okay, now some things I noticed during the credits. One, they can't get the spelling of Slauson's name right because in the movie on all the signs and on the museum signs and all that, it's spelled Slausen. but in the credits they changed the E to an O.
Oh, S-O-N?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And I also noticed that this is just a side note for people who might know this, but the makeup in this movie was done by V. Neal. V. Neal is an Academy Award-winning makeup artist, and she's gaining more notoriety and fame now because she's one of the judges on the sci-fi hit show Face Off.
Okay, yeah.
She's done stuff like The Hunger Games and a lot of other big-name movies. So yeah, I just noticed that when I was watching through the credits, like, oh, hey, look at that.
Right on.
So yeah, that before we move on is like this movie. What the fuck with Jerry? Like what? Like I know they want to do a twist, but again, how?
It doesn't
Why?
make any sense.
No. When did he become a mannequin? And
When
again,
did
how is he walking
around? What's going on?
And the mannequins are clearly look like man. None of the mannequins are so lifelike that my like, oh, it's really Jerry. No, it's like
He came in to save her.
yeah. Like, unless that's Slauson, again, trying to be like just an evil,
Or
sick
could he
bastard.
just suddenly turn him into a mannequin?
Yeah, like, like,
what's happening?
Does he have like Thanos Infinity Gauntlet powers? Like, you know what?
pow.
You're now a mannequin.
Now you're a mannequin.
It's like,
now you're a cheeseburger. I'm hungry. What's going on?
And if he did, like, when did Jerry become a mannequin? And like, again, if he has that, was Slauson controlling Jerry to come in and like give Molly a false sense of hope, just to toy with her? And if he had that kind of power, again, why didn't he just kill everybody instantaneously?
He's bored?
I guess. It's what the fuck? So, all right. Yeah, that's that.
That's Tourist Trap.
That is Tourist Trap. Time to go into favorite kills.
There can be only one. Favorite kill.
Again, not many kills in this movie. It's one of the older ones where it's not a very high death count at all.
And are they kills? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
So, given what we saw, what's your favorite kill?
I honestly, I liked the tomahawk to the back of the head. Just because when she got axed or tomahawked, she kind of stopped and went, "Oh dang!" and like reached back.
She didn't actually say dang.
I know she didn't say dang, but you can tell she's like, "Fuck."
Yeah, you see her reaching back.
That's an axe. Oh, shit. It's like she just was. I mean, she didn't say a word, but it was just that type of nonverbal, like, "Damn it, God damn it," and then slowly slid to the floor.
All right,
and it was probably one of the more bloody kills, I guess, because there was a little splatter.
Yeah, there was very, very low blood.
So
honestly, the bloodiest kill probably would have been Woody when you see the blood run out the pipe.
Yeah, but still, that was my favorite one.
My favorite, I'm going with the girl on the table, the plaster to the face, because that one was just fucking dark, and it was the scariest part of the movie.
Yeah.
So that was easily my favorite kill for this week. That brings us to odds and ends.
Not only did they watch these films, they researched them too. Ugh. What is wrong with these guys?
Odds and ends are ratings this week. IMDb 6.2 out of 10. So one of the higher ratings we've seen. Yeah. Surprisingly, for such an old movie, there's no thermometer score.
Interesting.
Absolutely zero, and it only has a 48% audience score, and that's
pretty high.
That's
for a lot of the movies we do. That's pretty right there, 50-50.
But that's from 2,731 user votes or whatever, and Amazon 4.1 out of 5.
Wow.
So again, Amazon IMDb higher ratings, but no score in Rotten Tomatoes, which is really kind of surprising, especially since the 19th. Like I would expect that was like a lot of this other newer modern independent movies we do that just like Camp Massacre didn't have one because it's so new and blood, but this one's been around for a long time, and it was a theatrical release, so which is even weirder. Moving on to plot keywords, there were 86 of them, but they were all boring. There's really nothing
surprising.
Yeah, I mean, the ones I worked out were mannequin and non-existent actor and cast.
Lena Quigley, is that what you're talking about?
No, well, I could, but the thing with that is, I was gonna get this trivia. I'll just cover it now. No, actually, trivia is next, so fuck it. Well, I'll leave that off with that one. The non-existent actor in the cast is a person by the name of Shailar Colby, Shailar. Colby, and it turns out that's the name. I think it's probably reversed, but the name of the director's son.
Okay.
Whether there's first or middle, like if it's Colby Shailar Colby, I don't know, but that's his name. And it's made up actor, and he's credited as playing Davy in the opening credits to kind of throw off the audience so they think somebody else is playing Davy.
So it's not. Okay.
So he's not a real person.
Swerve.
Yeah. Moving on, the original script called for nudity, but it says Schmoller, the director, was too bashful and embarrassed to bring it up with the girls and with Tony Roberts and the other actors during the casting of the movie. And so when they got to the lake scene, when they skinny dipped, he asked them, "Hey, would you be reduced?" They all said no.
Hey girl, I know I didn't say before, but could you take your clothes off, please?
Yeah,
that's not a good time to bring
exactly.
it up, man.
Yeah,
that's not the way you do it.
No.
Jeez.
So again, according to the director, he was startled when the film received a PG rating despite its disturbing subject matter, and he stated in the interview that he felt the film would have been more commercially successful if it had received the R rating, like Texas Chainsaw and Halloween and some of the other movies around that time.
Well, you should have juiced it up, big
boy.
Yeah,
put a little more blood in there. Maybe if you would have gotten that nudity clause during casting, you would have been good.
We would have been money.
If you weren't such a chicken shit.
Yeah. Yeah, pussy.
Ask the girls get naked. What's wrong with that? They're getting paid. So anyway, the mannequin who gives... Okay, so it's here, according to this, it's saying that woman, we were wondering who the fuck that woman was. According to this, it's saying that was a mannequin.
It was a woman.
It was clearly a woman.
Young woman.
Yeah, it was clearly a woman. But according to this, it was a mannequin, and that the woman who played it, because it's clearly a woman, the actress was Schulmer's then wife. So it was the wife of the director at the time, and originally there were supposed to be 2 lines for that character, but they had him edited out during post-production, and according to this, she never forgave him for deleting her lines.
The lines would be, "Hi, I'm a mannequin."
Yeah.
Just to clarify, I'm a mannequin.
Yeah.
That'd have been nice.
Yeah, I'm a mannequin. According to it was Chuck Connor's idea to distinguish between Slauson and Plasterface, or Davy, by having Slauson walk with a limp, which was his, so we commented on that.
Yeah.
Jocelyn Jones, who is the one who played Molly, was a classically trained actress, whereas Chuck Connors was self-taught. So during filming...
Fuck yeah, he was self-taught.
Connors would often ask Schulmer why Jones would have to go through all these various routines and exercises before filming scenes, because he's like, what the fuck is she doing? Of course,
he's a rifleman.
John Van Ness, Jerry did his own stunts for jumping through that window. He did that himself.
Pretty sweet.
This whole movie was shot in 24 days, so not very long. That was pretty quick. According to information I found, Pino Donaggio's fee for composing the movie was 1/6 of the total budget.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That music was fucking weird.
Yeah. The massacre was called Davy. The cast and crew dubbed him Plasterface, which we just mentioned. This movie, Tourist Trap, was actually based on director Schulmer's senior film project at film school. Irwin Yablans reportedly hated Pino Donaggio's score of the film, as Yablans wanted another synthesized score in the same tradition and along the lines of John Carpenter's Halloween at the time.
Yeah.
The opening sequence with the items flying out of the cabinet was filmed with the cabinet nailed to the ceiling, and the crew were on top of that, flinging items straight down. So when it's shown in the film, it gives the illusion that the items are flying straight out.
Yeah, because I was even thinking about that. I was like, I bet that's exactly what I thought they were doing. I was like, I bet that's on the ceiling or something.
Because you can tell like the way it looks
coming out.
Yeah, it looks odd the way it's coming out.
It's a good effect.
Yeah, for the time.
It's not a bad effect.
No, it's very similar to like the lines of the Nightmare on Elm Street, where they had the rotating. The whole room was built to rotate, and everything was nailed down. The plaster used in that death scene I like so much was actually dough, which makes sense, and it looks like dough when it's a plaster. It's not like a plaster.
It's real thick.
Yeah,
you can just roll that shit out and make some bagels.
Yeah, or like I was like, man, I remember a time where we're at a pizza place. It was like slap a pizza,
slap out a pizza,
spin it in the air a bit time, do a little trick.
And plaster.
Connor's parents in the movie were actually played by Schulmer's parents, which I don't get that one, and I'm calling bullshit because if they're supposed to be the old people, they were clearly mannequins. They never moved. They didn't speak. And if they did speak, it's voiceover. And
did they have makeup on? I mean, it's
maybe they were painted to look like his parents.
Those animatronics, I think, were people. The way they moved, they were so smooth and fluid, and the way they did it.
Some of them were.
They were just people who could do the robot really good.
There were in the credits. There's people that are listed as mimes or mannequins. So some of the mannequins that were people, but the grandparents or the parents, and they just sat there, and those were clearly mannequins. They didn't move.
Maybe it's the voices.
That's
Because
what I'm
there were
wondering.
distinct voices.
Yeah. Robin Sherwood, Eileen, she's provided the heart-shaped glasses herself because she thought it fit her character. The film House of Wax from 2005, of course, shares similar plot points, despite the latter being a remake of the 1953 House of Wax, which
with Vincent Price.
Yeah, I don't know why that was even listed there.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
So that's basically that's what I got for trivia for this week. Coming to the budget, even though I said from the information I found that the composer's fee was 1/6 of the budget, that's all I got. I could not find budget information.
We have not had a budget game in a long time.
I've been in a slump with the budget. I've been striking out.
You know what? I needed some time to dust off my shit anyway.
Yeah,
so.
Which is kind of disappointing because I
shake it off.
I don't know. I get disappointed when I was really surprised by this one. Again, being that it was a theatrical release, I thought I could dig up information on it.
Well-known actors and actresses.
Yeah.
Especially for the time.
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. But no, everywhere I looked, I could not find it. But we do have lots of 5-star reviews. So with that, let's go into 5-star reviews.
These special movies have a place in these special people's hearts. 5-star reviews.
Oh boy.
There were 10 pages of 5-star reviews for this movie.
Jesus squeeze.
Yeah, I wrote down a few. Some were short, some were a little longer, and some of them I edited down. From Kay Reed. I can't wait to show this to someone who's a bit creeped out by my doll collection, especially the more realistic looking ones. It even gives me chills. Being too young to know of the Rifleman, I didn't know who Chuck Connors was, and it doesn't matter because he's scary as ... There are jumps and moments of fridge horror, sure to stick with you. This wasn't a movie I immediately rewatched, but I know when I do later, I will be able to look for little things that add to it. Throw in a copy of Dolls to keep the doll-phobic away, or for that certain someone who just might let their toys have a movie night. Then try to sleep with Barbie while Barbie is watching you. 5 stars.
This guy sounds like a creep.
I don't know if that's a guy or a girl, but Jesus
Doll
Christ,
collection, huh?
That's fucking creepy.
Eesh.
Yeah. From Pumpkin Toss.
Pumpkin Toss.
Pumpkin Toss. Personally, I felt for the most part, that this movie was highly entertaining, and yes, I will watch it again. Spoiler alert, the following information about this film may help you decide if this movie is right for you. 1. Throughout this movie, mannequin jaws will drop and scream sing when there is a problem. 2. A girl is knocked unconscious by mannequins falling on top of her. They move on their own. 3. While 2 victims try to escape, they witness the killer with a childlike mask wig on playing with a doll. While surrounded by mannequins' wax figures, the victims make a noise and the killer talks to himself as the surrounding figures. Then he investigates the noise. The 2 victims realize that he's coming, so they pause like mannequins, not to be seen. They were surrounded by several figures.
So this person's ruining the movie. Their 5-star review is just a ruining of the movie.
Most of them are like 4. One female victim who resembles the killer's dead wife is forced to wear a mask, looks like his wife, and is then killed by the killer. 5. One of the female victims is shot by several wax figures.
What is going on?
5 stars. And those are supposed to help you decide if you want to see the movie or not.
Fuck that guy.
That's the weirdest, stupidest review. One of the stupidest. Like,
that's one of our worst reviews.
Yeah.
Who was that? Pumpkin Toss.
That was Pumpkin Toss.
Yeah, go toss that up your ass. Jesus, that's horrible.
Yeah, that was Pumpkin Toss. From Jason, I love this movie, but it's clearly not for everyone. I shared it with my father, thinking he would enjoy it, but he was disgusted by the film because of the way Mr. Slauson, or the actor Chuck Connors, was portrayed. Apparently, it smeared the image he had of the actor prior to this film.
Oh,
5 stars.
The Rifleman went sleazy and scary.
From a customer, I haven't yet had the pleasure. Please see this film, much the same as the superb Phantasm, released the year before. Tourist Trap leaves logic behind in favor for creativity and vision, and the results are classic. 5 star.
He does have that's right. Logic was.
Yeah, that's what we're really like. They don't give a shit about logic.
Nailed it there.
From Straubing.
Yeah.
Fun zombie magic witch caper. 5 stars.
Not really.
Yeah, I was like, what? Are you even talking about the same movie?
Wrong movie.
Yeah. Keith H. I'm afraid to watch. I'll never go to another museum again. 5 stars.
I'll never go to any museum.
Not a history museum, an art museum. Just no.
Fuck art and culture.
Yeah, fuck it.
Thanks a lot, tourist trap.
From Jeremy Botcher, this had to be one of the creepiest movies ever. Forget garbage like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. This is real horror. 5 stars.
Real PG horror.
Yeah. 2 more 5 stars. From Ray Castantino. A rare horror gem of uncommon power. A backroads tourist trap lures naive teenagers to a sense of safety, and suddenly Lucas McMahon jumps out from the shadows and fire his rifle away. Oh yes, Mark was in trouble again. This is one of those movies where the hot chick always gets it before you've gotten to confirm whether the poor girl was cold or not. If not for the nice, gory approach and the demented performance of Chuck Connors, I would say this movie was a waste of film. 5 stars. What the fuck is this person talking about?
I don't understand.
I don't know who Lucas McMahon is, unless that's the name of a Chuck Connors character from another movie.
Right.
And who the fuck is Mark in trouble? And why is he in trouble? There's no Mark in this movie. I don't. And talking about the hot chick gets before you can confirm if she was hot or cold. What? Understand. This guy's like on drugs or something.
Someone's got like dyslexia kind of spilling out onto this.
Fucking weird.
Instead of reading it funny, he's writing it funny.
Yeah. Last 5-star review from Michael Sue, HSU. So
yeah, like
who's? I know. I want to make sure I don't.
Might be related to Indomitian Sue. His name's Michael though.
Yeah, but Indomitian Sue is just SU. There's no H in it.
Well, whatever.
Actually, it might be SUH. I think it's SUH. Anyway, so although there is no female nudity in this movie, it still has Tanya Roberts in it wearing skimpy clothing, hence the 5-star rating.
All right.
5 stars.
That I can get behind.
There you go. The last 3 I wrote, I want to check for, these aren't 5, these are 1-star reviews. Because there were several pages of these too. Like I wanted to see, like, so there was a,
so people either loved it or they hated it.
Yeah, there were 10 pages of 5 stars and like 6 pages of 1-star reviews.
Not much in between.
Yeah, I think there's more 4 stars, but the
not a lot in between.
2 and 3 was not much. So from DeQuain Fabrice, these are 1 stars. I am the ultimate horror movie fan. I like all styles, really. Here, don't think you'll be afraid. Don't think you'll see huge graphics or special effects or blood or slashers. No, the story is as simple as possible. 5 teens in the desert, 1 farmer to cross their path. It seems 1,000 times deja vu, and it is. But here you'll never be afraid. Music is very poor, graphics are terrible, actors are not good. The bad, which is not bad, which I don't get that. The bad is not bad. And plays very, very bad. All scenes intend to be frightening, lose effect. It's 90 minutes long, but seems 120 minutes. Rhythm is very, very slow, especially the last 30 minutes. As far as the story is concerned, I won't spoil anything, but you understand all the thing. You'll understand all the thing after 30 minutes. Really, I don't get why this movie has 4-star average, really. I find nothing can save the Titanic. All things fall apart, from the story to the acting, from the music to the graphics. Nothing, to my eyes, is a success. Ah, yes, there are 2 ravishing women in the movie. That makes the movie watchable. 1 star.
1 star for the ladies.
For Eileen and Becky.
1 star for the ladies.
Last 2, this one's short. April S. Ordered the R-rated version, but received the PG version. I only wrote that down because, April, you're a moron. Because there is no R-rated version. So I don't know what you thought you ordered. There is no R-rated version. And from Aaron Dean, I can understand people loving bad movies or being scared of bad movies. I will begrudge no one their cult movies. I'm just not on the bandwagon on this one. Chuck Connors will always be George Moore from Roots. So apparently he was in Roots.
Yeah.
He's about as scary as Elmer Fudd. The mannequins were not scary, and what was with the telekinesis? So weird and dumb without an ounce of suspense. The killer looked like a bad drag version of Leatherface, but much less scary.
That's funny.
1 star.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's gonna wrap us up for this week. Let's wrap this up. Final thoughts, final recommendations here. What we got?
All right.
Week,
well, this movie, I didn't know what to expect. It was 1979. I did watch the trailer first, which we have posted on our Facebook page, and it seemed like it was just one of those very last throwouts to a grindhouse-style film. At least that's what the trailer kind of portrayed. But when I watched it, it seems like it was trying to piggyback a lot off of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or that weird kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Of being out and alone in some buddy's house.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely very like.
There's some similarities.
Texas Chainsaw.
But I mean there was no. It kind of what that guy said, that there's very little build of suspense. Right off the bat, we kill one of the main characters. There's not, and it's unexplainable, weird crap happening, and we never get anything explained, and it's so fucking bizarre. I'm going to say it's so bad it's scary.
So bad it's scary.
I did not enjoy, it was interesting at times. I don't know. It wasn't really interesting. I was just like, what? What is happening? There's so many things that were confusing. There wasn't enough gore to make up for it.
Yeah.
There wasn't boobies to make up for it. There wasn't any, that weird cracker scene was kind of funny. But, I mean, that was hardly enough. It wasn't enough of that kind of stuff. So bad it's scary.
Okay. I'm on the fence with this one. And for pretty much all the reasons you said are on my negatives, my cons. But on the positives, I try looking at this from 1979 perspective, not from modern day. Can't compare it to modern day. I'm like, okay, times are different. This probably may have been much more scary back then, but I mean, the whole doll mannequins coming to life, that's creepy. I mean, it's kind of annoying, but at the same time, it's creepy at the same time. The screaming mannequin heads, just like and then of course the plaster face, the girl getting plastered. That's the scariest scene in the movie. So I mean, I did enjoy that. So the acting, I didn't think was that bad. I think Tanya Roberts and Connors did fine.
Yeah, Chuck Connors wasn't that bad. No.
It's just, but yeah, there's so many logic holes, and so like, what the fuck, and like how, and I know it's it was low budget, and the time was made, so I'm really on the fence, like, cause I don't know if I want to say if it's so bad it's good, that's worth writing, but I don't know if it's that bad either. It just to me, it's just in this gray zone.
So you're like the thermometer score. You're right there on the fence.
Yeah, but
so gun to your head. What are you gonna say?
Gun to my head.
Rifleman's got a rifle right at your head here. Old Chuck Connors has got you dead to rights. You got to answer.
So bad it's scary.
All right.
Barely though. I'm still gonna say there are some redeeming things about this movie, but just it's so weird, and there's so many parts that don't make sense that it pushes just barely over the line into this so bad it's scary for me.
I wasn't that close.
Yeah, I was hoping we would be split on again, but I had to, that's it. So
well, you have integrity. You went with your honest opinion, so there you go.
Yeah.
We keep it integral here. We keep integrity.
I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna, say something I don't mean. You gotta be honest. Gotta be honest with the people.
We do whore out for other things, though.
Yes, we will whore out for other things. Sponsors, we will whore out for you if any sponsors want.
Anybody want to give us anything, we will whore out big time.
All right.
We will always give you our honest opinion about these movies.
Yes. All right, so that wraps us up. Remember, check out our Facebook page. Check us out on our website, horriblehorrorpodcast.com.
We are blowing up on Instagram,
too. Horrible Horror Podcast on Instagram. We're also at So Bad It's Scary on Twitter. You can download and listen to the show off our website. You can also get it at horriblehorror.podbean.com. And, of course, you can get us on iTunes. So if you, get on iTunes, subscribe, give us 5 stars if you enjoy the show. Please don't be a dick and give us 1. But if you have comments, questions, suggestions, anything you want to know, anything you want to say to us, you can always reach out to us for our email through our website. You can Twitter us. You can Facebook us. Just
any social media contact, we got our fingers in those pies.
If you think you have a movie that's so bad, that's scary, that you think that you can get us with, you want to torture us, feel free to let us know, and we'll
take it.
Try to look it up.
We'll take it all.
We'll take it all. All right, so that's going to do it for us. In the we'll be back next week. In the meantime, watch more horror movies.
Thank you, Moon Goons.
Peace out.